Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to do something just a little bit different than we normally would. We're riding out in the 1995 Ford Escort wagon, otherwise known as the Sippy Cup. And I imagine I'll throw a playlist link for you for this car right over in them trees there. So if you want to get all caught up in the happenings, you can. But what we're doing today is cruising out through farm country here in Indiana, which is the old stomping ground. And I'm just taking my drive home after a 4th of July visit with some family. And I thought it would be fun to kind of do a recap video after all the work I've just done on this car. All the work being basically all the suspension, all the brakes, all the steering. It's been in for an alignment, of course, rotate tires, oil change, all kinds of crap like that. So we work on stuff all the time, but we don't often show it off. Also, a lot of this video is probably not going to look too terribly great. I don't have a stabilized camera, and the mount I'm using to put this thing on my windshield was like $6, so it's probably a little bit bouncy, and we'll probably talk a little bit more about what we're doing on the highway once we get off of these county roads. But the long and the short of things is I'm pretty pleased with how the car's driving. Every time I get something back from an alignment, in my mind it's just not quite right, and I can't make my mind up if this thing's not quite right or if it's in my mind. I know the steering wheel's not quite perfectly centered, so I might try and address that. I've not performed a front end inspection on it yet, which I need to, so I need to trade out for my stainless cotter pins and make sure all the adjustment bolts are tight and all that kind of crap. But as it is right now, I've got about 170 miles on it since all the work was done. And the only kind of funkiness I've really noticed, and I wouldn't say the rotors are warped, but I will say they feel strange. And I am still in the break-in process and the heat cycling process and all that stuff. But I did have to stand on them once or twice when I was making my big city visit. And since then, they're feeling a little bit more odd. I think the oddness might just be the slotting. The only other slotted rotors I've driven on were some like totally garbage Summit rotors that also warped the first time I ever used them, so it's hard to get a feeling for what potentially good ones might feel like. I don't know if they're supposed to be like smooth as glass, but I don't get any pulsation in the wheel. And I don't really feel any pulsation in the pedal. Just the car sort of feels weird. It's difficult to explain, but overall I think the rotors are probably fine. Time will tell. I also think the front wheel bearing that I suspected, which by the way I forgot, we did a front wheel bearing, that I suspected may have been pressed in wrong. I got a feeling it's fine. That was also just in my mind, because by now, if it were truly bad, I'd probably know. It would probably be howling and everything else. So it is probably fine. The right rear wheel bearing that I suspected needed replaced does still indeed need replaced. Although it doesn't have a lot of slop in it, it's getting a little noisy. So that'll be something to put on my agenda in the near-ish future. And now we're turning on to State Road 205 in Indiana. So now we are pretty much done with county roads. Hopefully a little bit better camera views for you. I don't really think I have a whole lot else to add to the conversation at this point. Rebuilding the car with mostly functional parts versus entirely broken parts did not magically transform it into a sports car, but it drives pretty good. One thing I did notice is that the rear springs are definitely not rated for a wagon. It's sitting like a monster truck in the front, and that might settle some, but it's sitting down where I would say it's supposed to in the rear. So I may try and put some spring blocks in it in the back just to pick it up a little bit more so it's more even. And that may also be some of the sometimes odd driving dynamics I'm feeling as I'm wheeling along. It's like I said, in my mind, I'm always, whenever I get something back from the alignment shop, going, is it right, is it right, is it right? And the truth is, it's probably right, because basically a robot did it and there was just a dude there turning the stuff to make it happen. But if it's sitting too low in the butt, that will affect things that the guy couldn't change. So that might be some of why it sometimes feels weird to me. But unless something else interesting comes up, I think the rest of this video is just going to be kind of like a ride and drive follow along thing. I've thought once or twice about making videos like that. I don't know if anybody would actually want to watch them. So we will call this a demo for what that could look like if I did. Right now we are just passing through scenic downtown Laotto, Indiana, which is your standard Midwestern small town, really nothing to see except the cornfields we just went through. Now entering DeKalb County, Indiana. For most of the internet people, it'd probably be the most famous for housing the town of Auburn, or the city of Auburn, which is where the cars were built. So if you're familiar with Auburn cars or Duesenbergs, there's an Auburn Cord Duesenberg museum in Auburn. It's actually pretty cool, but that's where the factory was and still stands today if you should ever get down this way and want to look. Other than that, I don't think Auburn has very many claims to fame at all. The next major stop in our adventure will be about 10 miles up Indiana 3 here. We'll be coming into a town called Kendallville, which is another town of probably 50,000-ish people. Pretty standard Midwestern city. Then from there, it's basically tiny little towns all the way back to the hood, my hood that is, which is Elkhart County. That's as close as you guys are going to get, I think. I think we're going to shut her down right there. Not that I don't like you, but I don't know everybody. There's going to be someone crazy watching. And I should also apologize for what you're probably hearing is wind noise. It is 10,000 degrees today, so my AC is cranked on up. Yes, this car does have working AC because I'm the guy that fixed it. And also, this is a concrete highway, so it's going to be loud. And I still have all the rear interior plastics torn out of it from the struts and taillight work, so she's going to be pretty loud. I'm probably going to put it into time lapse mode here and turn off the sound and shut up and just let you guys admire the sights if you would like. The joys of a commercial vehicle just chilling out in the passing lane, going the same speed as everybody else. But a couple miles back, we just went through Avila, Indiana, which is one of those tiny little towns I was talking about. Basically, it's got a McDonald's bar and a pizza joint, a couple factories. Next up will be Kendallville. Hey, he's going to move over. Awesome. Figured it out. And now I have a guy just right on my butt. There's no way I'm going to get behind the tow truck that couldn't move over before. And it's in something unusual too. It's a Mitsubishi SUV. Can't be too many of those around. And it looks like it's a business vehicle of some kind. Something tells me we're going to find out when he passes me going 15 over. Nope, it's just got green all over it. Come on, 88 horsepower of doom. Well, time to test out the brakes. If they're gonna warp, they're gonna warp. She shut right down. I am gonna set the parking brake because I want to get off of the calipers. That was from 65 to nothing. Pretty good. Guarantee you they're plenty warm now. Looks like I should have been with Mr. Greenie that blasted by me. We wouldn't have to wait at the light. Yeah, I can see the temperature sign over yonder says 89 degrees, and it's about 100% humidity today, so awesome day for a nice ride. Car's staying ice cold though, for whatever that's worth. Those of you who have followed this car the whole time it's been on YouTube, you've seen me put a water pump and all new hoses on it, new timing belt, all that stuff. And I think just by like 10 months, an episode of putting a new radiator in it missed YouTube. So the cooling system on this thing is pretty top shelf at the moment. So yeah, she's not even running in the middle of the gauge. Welcome to the outskirts of Kendallville, Indiana. The only important part that you need to know, as far as I know, is that if you turn right on 6 right here, you'll go to Rural King. It's pretty much the nearest Rural King to me, which makes it the best Rural King. If you don't know what Rural King is, you're missing out. It's like Tractor Supply, but with gun store in it. Oh yeah, I think we torched the rotors. I think these things are junk, just like all the other ones. I'll still reserve my opinion. You know, I'm not even yet 200 miles in ownership. We'll see. Polaris Slingshot? Yep. I've seen a few three-wheeled vehicles around lately. A couple I couldn't identify. Interesting concept. We have some weirdness going on. It's a crap place to pull off. It's where I used to buy my propane and propane accessories. I don't live around here no more. We're about to whip dip on up Indiana 9 here, right at the Circle K. And Presently it's July 6th, but that fireworks place is there all year long. I am not honestly sure if they're open all year long though, but you cruise through here and February 3rd, there's going to be a fireworks store. I don't think there's a whole lot else to do out in this part of the sticks, except, blow things up and get drunk. Which, to a point, I can get behind both those things. But now we're just going to whip Indiana 9 on up through a bunch of little towns. The only next one I can think of that I actually know the name of is Valentine. So, you RDR2 fans, we're actually going to go to Valentine. Yeehaw! And it's about the size of a postage stamp. But if you are a viewer from, somewhere not in the middle 2/3 of the country, at least the middle third of the country, all this is going to look really different to you. I imagine if you're from LA that this is strange. And I'm also going a little faster than I want to be. Because another fun thing about all these state highways is that nobody seems to know how to drive the same speed. I don't care if we drive the limit 5 over or even a couple under, but let's just do it all the same the whole way we go. I got pretty lucky on my visit south because there was basically no traffic. Not so sure we'll get lucky on my visit back home. Not so sure we'll get so lucky on my trip back home. Rome City. I should have known that one. So Valentine is still north of here. There's kind of like a little reservoir built up in Rome City that I can't see much of from the road. You might actually see more of from the camera, but it's kind of scenic. Another 3-wheeler. Another Slingshot, I believe. Never seen one with a top on it. It's starting to get to the point where it's like, isn't Miata the answer? Yeah, there's a little reservoir. Actually, that might be a lake. Either way, it's a nice little scenic kind of trip over the bridge. You guys probably can't see crap, and I don't have a handy way to turn the camera. But I always like driving down this part of this road. It's kind of a neat feeling with the hill and everything next to you. Sycamore Park, I guess, is specifically where we are. So Sycamore Park in Rome City is where I enjoy the view. Although I think the park is actually the part across the street, and then whatever lake was there to our right. Yeah, you folks that don't know anything at all about Indiana may not realize that there's hundreds, if not thousands, of lakes in Indiana, especially in the northern part of the state. There's just dozens and dozens of lakes all over the place. So we are known for that. Wolcottville. I should have known that one too. I've driven through here a million times. I just never remember these little cities. I promise we're going to Valentine though. We got to do that just one more job for... We got to do just one more job for Dutch. I will say this about the coastingest car I've ever had. Coming downhill through a little strip like this, it actually picks up speed. I won't be down to the speed limit until probably the light up here. Not that I'm going like 30 over, but I think you guys can see what's going on. Yeah, and the speed limit drops again, so... Yep. More mowers for sale? Man, Paradise. Hey, an old Cub. A little bit newer than mine. And it looks like we got problems in front of us. I'm seeing fire trucks. Hopefully, I don't know, is it anywhere near Boots at Intersections weekend? I don't think it is. Loose gravel, fresh oil, that's not awesome. Oh, they must be doing it right now. The odd part of that to me is this is not a gravel road. They sure are spreading plenty around though. I guess it's a gravel road now, holy crap. 2 days ago it wasn't. I'm not even sure what to do here. I guess just follow the truck. There was literally nothing wrong with this road 2 days ago. I guess maybe 3. And it was not a chip and seal road then. It was straight asphalt. This is weird. But on the other hand, horsies off to my left. I'll point the car that way a little bit because we're not doing anything else anyway. But it looks like on my next trip back south, I'm going to be taking a different path. Since we're just chilling and babbling anyway, I also forgot to bring an SD card for the camera that you're watching right now. So I went to basically a grocery store, got the cheapest card they had, which was about 4 times too expensive for a 32 gig card. So I don't know if we got enough card to get the whole way home or not. I also don't know if any of you guys care, but if I set out to do it, I kind of want to do it. What in the world? I'm almost hoping this is a preparation for new asphalt, but normally I think they just come and break up the asphalt when they do that. I'm not a construction guy, but I do know that this road, just all sorts of should not be gravel. On the plus side, all of the, and you can probably hear it, all the rocks and everything that are beating this car to death. That's also putting a whole bunch of dust and all that, all the grease and fluid film that I packed up in the wheel wells, so it's turning it into a nice slurry to prevent the old rust. I'm also happy that I just put all the plastic covers back on this thing, so it's at least not getting beat to death any more than it has to. I'm hoping this comes to an end soon. Oh, and we are in Amish land, by the way, if you happen to see that horse and buggy sign. And actually, it looks like maybe that's what they're up to here, is maybe this is the very first step of widening the road. Put in Amish lanes. The old folks sitting out front under the tree and the folding chairs watching the dust. Yeah, and there you can see the other lane is asphalt in perfectly good condition. Okay, good. We can get back on actual road. Well, see, I didn't expect anything exciting to happen at all, but there we go. Listen to me babble for 20 minutes and eventually you'll see a gravel road. Now that we're picking up a little speed, I want to stay further back from that truck because I can watch the rocks fall out of it. I don't really want to have to buy a new windshield. Should have paid attention to what my mileage was when this started, but I'm going to say I've already gone a couple miles with that all gravel over there. It's going to really be too bad for the people that live around here if that's the new plan. This is actually a state highway. It was, I repeat myself, but it was in nice condition 12 minutes ago. One thing I'll add that I noticed on the trip down is these curves up here. There's nothing really all that special about them, but the car feels a lot more sure-footed around them. You know, the funny thing about having like functional anti-sway bars. I'm not sure how it's going to do when they're all covered in gravel, but I'm not, you know, pushing my luck either. It also looks like they've got like angle iron or something sitting in the middle of the road where the stripes would be. I don't know if those are reflectors or what, but I'm going to guess I wouldn't want to hit one. Valentine! We're going to the saloon. And since I first mentioned it, we've now gone 1.5 miles, and that's still all gravel over there. It drives me nuts when you see construction projects like this. It's like, why in the world would you do like 5 miles of whatever they're doing in gravel instead of just doing like 1 mile to completion? I'm sure there's some economy of scale that makes sense to piece it out like that, but just makes it awful for everyone that lives here and has to drive on the road. Now we are now over 2 miles since I started paying attention. Yeah, I think Valentine and RDR might actually be bigger than Valentine in reality. Though I've never actually tried to find like downtown Valentine, Indiana. And I think I can just get past this guy. And what the hell, I've been driving off-road for 5 miles anyway. It's got enough rock on it that I'm going to take it a little easy back off the cruise control. Although the car is very sure-footed, this is another one of those curves where it would feel questionable before. It feels very nice now. And for those keeping score, we just clicked off at 5 actual miles since I started paying attention, which means probably 7 miles of whatever is going on over there. And we're now coming into LaGrange, Indiana. Fun fact, the sheriff's department's right up here on the right where the speed limit drops down. I've not seen them abuse that privilege, but should you be the 1 in a million people that are actually taking this drive after watching this video, take it easy. And that truck just launched a rock straight in my windshield. I'm not sure if it's a chip or not. Yep, little rock chip. Awesome. But, okay, so there, it's over. Downtown LaGrange have finally ended. That's like 8 miles of gravel. And if any of you were ever wondering, this is one of the reasons why I don't drive nice cars. Honestly, I've never seen anything quite like that before, but stuff like that happens all the time. Every single time I've been past that place, that purple Charger or purple Challenger is sitting there. I've never driven by it and not seen it there. Cool car. I just wonder if it moves. All right. Indiana West 20. Indiana 20 West. This is what we will be on until the video ends. Sort of the same story. We're going to whip and dip through some small towns. LaGrange is probably the biggest town until Elkhart County. If you guys happen to watch A-Bomb 79, or more specifically the A-Bomb Adventures channel, he just recently released a video, and recently I mean it'll probably be a couple months ago by the time you guys see this video, where they spent some time in Shipshewana, and we're actually going to drive pretty much exactly past the campground they stayed at. So if you are more nosy than he was willing to show you, I've got the solution for you. Oh, and there's something neat coming up here that I've never seen before. They've got a bridge that they're doing some work on up here that's down to one lane, and it's got an automated turn signal or an automated traffic stop for the construction. At least it did when I came through before. So there's like a temporary stoplight up here. Most of you guys probably think I'm the world's biggest idiot because these things are probably everywhere else in the country, and it's the first time I've ever seen one. It sure beats the hell out of paying somebody to stand there with a sign, especially when they're not doing any work. But I'm fully expecting there to be some drag racing and or getting cut off right here, because this lane ends. Looks like Mr. Grand Marquess is going to just get with it, sort of, maybe. I'm just, man. Just going to leisurely get on over there eventually, I guess. So we're coming up on what is probably the most famous restaurant in the area, Das Dutchman Essenhaus, which most people just call Essenhaus around here. I might be the only guy on the planet that doesn't think it's that great, but a lot of people like to go there when they come up here. Most of the staff is Amish, so if you are not from the area or anything, it's kind of a fun way to meet some Amish people. It's family style food, so they bring like platters to the table and serve yourselves, and it's basically all you can eat. Before COVID, I think there was also a buffet, but I have not been there before COVID. I went after, so I don't know what they do now. And if you turn right at this intersection, that is where A-Bomb's campground is. You go up that street a couple miles, that's where they were staying. And if you didn't watch that video and you want to know, they were not that impressed with that campground because it was an actual RV park and not a campground. So it's basically just a parking lot with trees, kinda. So, anywho. El Duderino up here is doing a solid 5 under, which to me is 10 under. So we have a, oh wait, that dude's not Amish, he's just out on a bike with a freaking winter hat on. Actually maybe he is Amish, but I don't know. He still had an insulated hat on. It's gotta be like 91 right now. And it's, as you can see, the middle of the day, there are no shadows. It's hot as balls. I think I'm just going to give up looking for passing opportunities and just set the cruise at like 53. As a matter of fact, the more I think about it, we're getting close enough to the old homestead that we're probably just going to put a pin in this one and wrap it on up. I have no idea if anybody has watched this video or if they've watched this far into it anyway. But it's kind of a fun thing for me to just sit here and ramble, because why not? But as always, guys, I want to appreciate you for stopping in. We'll catch you on the next one.